going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabenda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. You have a great day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NFC North Open Mic Night. I'm your host, Main Event Mike, here on the Main Event 365, joined by our headliner panel and our illustrious producer, Mr. Russell Wayne. Hope everyone's having a great week, like I know the Chicago Bears are. We're going to start it off tonight with our Bear fans, and we'll start with Mike, the Bear fan, the man, the myth, the mustache. Tell us, Mike, all about the good news that the lowly Bears have done since the free agency tampering period has started.
Oh, it's been huge since trading down. I knew it was going to be a big year. I knew it was going to be a big offseason. We did 3 big moves today. We got 2 big linebackers and a guard. TJ Edwards, we got him for $19 million for 3 years, 19 and a half, which is pretty much a steal if you ask me. He's had over 100 tackles in the last 2 years. And then we got linebacker Edmonds as well. He's had 100 tackles in every game that he has played in the last 5 years. It was a little pricey 4-year deal for $72 million, $50 million guaranteed.
Wow.
And, of course, we had to beef up that offensive line, and we got Nate Davis from Tennessee. It's a 3-year deal for $30 million.
I know Tremaine Edmonds is a beast, but 100 tackles in every game is just phenomenal.
Every season, my bad.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get that straight. He is a great player, though. That, to me, is the big one, right? Tremaine Edmonds, what a great addition for the Chicago Bears. Now they have Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson, and Tremaine Edmonds. And give us, who is it? Nate Davis, did you say?
Yeah.
And what other moves do you see coming in free agency? Any other names on the radar for the Bears?
I don't think we go with a wide receiver. I think that's off the board. We got our linebackers now, so we got 1 offensive lineman. So I think they're going to tilt more towards the defensive line.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
So add it up. How much did they spend, Mike?
We spent a pretty penny. We got roughly $50 million left, though. We still got enough for 2 mid players or maybe one.
No, let's answer the question. How much did they spend, Mike? Roughly.
Are you talking in total or for the cap?
We don't. Go ahead, Ken Doby. Bear fan, bear down, Ken Doby.
You're looking at total. We spent, let me see, it's 102. We spent $121 million over the next
on 3 players.
Yeah, but that's over 3/4 years. So cap wise,
95 in linebackers.
Yeah. So what cap wise though, we're down to about 55 million left for this year, depending on the breakout of these contracts. But we kind of were before the show. We were kind of looking through what we could see the deals. So the Bears still have roughly around 50 to 55 million to spend for this season. Plus, as they all do, they can always restructure deals to create cap space, kind of like what Cleveland did today. So, you just convert some of it to a signing bonus, and boom, you end up opening up another $6 to $10 million. So there's cap space to be had. But yeah, we spent about 120 mil today.
Wow. I mean, you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. I get it, but that's an awful lot of money. Do you think you overpaid, Ken, for some of these players?
TJ Edwards, no. Nate Davis, no. Tremaine Edmonds, I would say it's competitive. I wouldn't necessarily call it, if it's an overpay, it's an overpay by a little, but not by a lot. Like it's in the house. You know, it's within
I
that
agree.
margin.
I agree, but
it-
overall we did great because remember Roquan Smith wanted $20 million a year. We got both linebackers at $20 million a year, technically.
Lots of things to get to today. Let's ask Russell Wayne. What do you think about these Bears moves?
Well, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes, and I know that we're going to end up sending this one all the way around about what they did in the trade. I mean, what they've done in the off season so far as far as spending their money. I mean, we expected them to spend money, and we expected them to get a lot better, and they absolutely did today. Wow, they got. I mean, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. I mean, really, you had to spend the money, but the DJ Moore I want to talk about this number 1 draft pick being traded to Carolina. And when I saw the compensation that you guys got, I have to eat a little bit of crow because I didn't think that anybody was going to pay this, honestly. So I didn't think it was going to happen. You guys got it done. So I want to send that to Ken first, dude. I mean, how about this trade, dude, that they pulled off? They needed a guy. You were right. They fell in love with a guy and they needed to have him and they paid you. How's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, and as we've read more about this trade in the days after, you know, I don't want to say he bullied him into it, but he's like, DJ Moore is a part of this trade or it doesn't happen. Because remember last year, the Packers offered a first-round draft pick for Moore and was told, no, thank you. So, I mean, from that aspect, now I got a receiving room that's DJ Moore, Claypool, and Mooney's my top 3. I'm pretty happy with that. And then I look at the draft picks. Okay, so we go back to 9. So we move back 8 spots. Okay, we're still in the top 10. Good. Next year, we'll have our own, but we'll have Carolina's. I don't think anyone thinks Carolina is a playoff team. So we could go best case scenario, the oh my God, Poles should be anointed God version. They end up getting the number 1 pick next year because Carolina is that bad. Or, you know, but the pick could be anywhere from number 1 to 17 probably next year. So we're still going to get a top half first rounder impact player because, you know, we're not drafting a quarterback, we hope, right? So, but if we do need a quarterback, if it's decided Fields is a bust and we're not going to give him an option, now we've got also though, we're set up to trade up to get the quarterback we want in a draft if that were to become the case. I don't think it is, but now you're looking like, let's say we still decide next year we need another edge rusher, we need a running back, we need whatever. We can go out and get whatever the hell we need next year, which they're probably thinking this season we're a playoff team-ish, and the season after that we start our window, and they'll be primed to get into their window.
All right, now you got a couple good players. Now we're talking this.
It's my quarterback. Playoffs.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's cool. Ish. Now, what I want to send over to Gregg Rice right here. Now, I want you to give me an honest take on this. Do you think that this was a solid message that they sent to Justin Field that he is the guy that they're going to be all focused in on Justin Fields and building around him?
Absolutely. You know, they went out there and they snatched a guard, brought some pieces in on defense. You got your certified number 1 wide receiver. No more is Claypool or is Mooney. I think you've seen from last year. I'll give Claypool a pass, but I think you've seen from last year, Mooney's more of a supportive cast type guy. My thoughts are I'm still looking at the Bears, and to my knowledge, Orlando Brown Jr. hasn't signed anywhere. It'd be interesting if they took a peek at him and grabbed him. What I do know is the Bears are giving Justin Fields a big enough supporting cast to where if we don't start seeing some better stats other than the rushing stats, he's probably not the guy going forward. This is a great supporting cast in year 2 of a system. If he's I'll say it like this. I think the Bears are like a 7-8 win team right now. I love all the moves you guys made, but it really does all come down to Fields and his play. But like Ken was saying, if Fields doesn't work out, they now have the draft capital, the assets to move up and get if it doesn't work out. But everything the Bears did, look, man, they hit a home run. That TJ Edwards, considering he got a contract comparable to Alex Anzalone, is baffling to me. You guys got an absolute steal with him. Tremaine Edmonds, a great linebacker, one of the best in the league, might have slightly overpaid for him, depending on the impact of depending on. I know Bears fans, you guys love your linebackers and such. League is moving away from having that many linebackers on the field, though, but can't go wrong with Tremaine Edwards. Nate Davis, good pickup. You guys are really putting together something. I think to say playoffs-ish, look, this team still needs time to gel. You don't just add all these pieces and then it all comes together game one, you guys out the gate. I understand this division's kind of fluid right now, but I just think you're kind of setting yourself up for failure with playoffs.
Well,
That's a very, very good take right there. And now I want to get a really, really honest take right here. And honestly, when you guys are out there in Facebook land too, go ahead and throw your thoughts in on this. But Bill, the Packer fan, I want to know how you feel, because I know as a Packer fan, you're going to give the most honest answer about these Bears, right? So what do you think about these moves that they've made?
Here it comes.
So far, it's been pretty good and it's been pretty interesting. But I'm still wondering. They still have 22 free agents left and are down to about 50 mil. So that maybe they could get maybe one more, decent player, someone averagely paid. But they got to start filling the rest of the roster.
Yeah, and they got a ton of draft picks too, high draft picks. So Bears making moves. Kudos to Ryan Poles, right? I mean, that's why we started the show tonight with the Bears, because they've obviously making some big moves, and you got to give the hats off. They didn't just sit on their hands like the Packers did, when they lost Devontae Adams. So, Bill, the Packer fan, let's give us some updates with what's going on with free agency with the Green Bay Packers.
Well, we re-signed Keyshawn Nixon to a
$6
million deal, $2 million on the cap 1 year. So, I mean, he started week 10 and he made the Pro Bowl for punt returning. So he's going to probably be something special. So they gave him 1 more year to see if it continues. If it continues,
what is he as a defensive back, though? Average?
I'm sorry?
As a defensive back, is he just average or is he just a return specialist?
He's not. No, he's actually going to hopefully play in the slot for us. He's been trying to get Matt LaFleur all last season to give him the shot. Well, now Randall Cobb's gone, so I think he's going to be the punt returner and playing in the slot.
Playing offense.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was a DB that never saw the field, but he's a wide receiver that never sees the field. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
anything else? You guys been pretty quiet then, right?
Yeah, other than that, so far, the other thing I'm hoping on is for us to re-sign Adrian Amos and move Rodgers. Other than that, we should be all right. We should be pretty decent.
So the Vikings have been having a fire sale, getting rid of everyone.
Yeah.
The Bears are loading up. The Lions made a lot of moves, and you re-signed a kick returner. Awesome.
Yeah. Can I know something real quick?
Looks like your quarterback might be on the way out too, and we're not going to talk about that very much. So not a lot to report from the Packers. There is a lot to report for the Detroit Lions. I'd say maybe not a lot, but we'll send it out to our West Coast stat master, Gregg Rice on the West Coast. Gregg, tell us about some of these Lions moves. Start with the biggest one.
So look, your vision of a lot, mine might be slightly off. Our biggest move was obviously picking up Cameron Sutton. This guy is a good corner, not great, but a good corner who played a very good year last year. Over the course of his career, he's been decent to good. I think it was a good pickup for the Lions. I see Cameron Sutton more as a awesome, amazing CB2, but he will step into the Detroit Lions and probably be our CB1, letting Jeff Okudah, Jerry Jacobs fight it out for that other outside slot, possibly one of them moving into the inside. We did re-sign a couple players. We signed Bugs, who is our backup run stuffer behind Lee McNeil, and we brought back Alex Anzalone for a pretty penny. The cap hit isn't too huge, but like I was discussing with you guys, the fact that his contract is comparative to TJ Edwards was a little head scratching. That being said, that's about it for Lions news that I know of.
Well, Alex Anzalone's contract's $18.7 million for 3 years. He led the team in tackles. He's a team leader in the locker room as well. $6 million a year doesn't seem exorbitant to me. Russell Wayne, what do you think about that? Alex Anzalone for $6 million a year.
I think that it's more important than the dollar amount. It's more important to keep the camaraderie together. I think that's important to Holmes, that what they're building as far as people knowing what's going on within, the culture of the locker room and understanding how things work there. Well, Anzalone's been there since day one. So, I mean, this guy is a team leader. He's a team captain. like you said, I mean, you hit every nail right on the head right there. For every reason that you should bring him back, they did. I don't mind spending that. I mean, they just spent like 15 million on Jermaine Edmonds, so it's like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Well, our show's a little biased. We're really happy the Lions also retained Craig Reynolds, the running back. Right. And Netflix, he's a big part of our team. We love him, his heart, the way he plays so hard. We just love having him. I was really happy to see Craig Reynolds come back. Our good friend Eric Reynolds, I know, was happy today, made a nice post about it. So, yeah, Lions making some moves. This Cam Sutton, I looked him up on the Detroit Free Press when they reported this. They said that Cam Sutton was a shutdown corner. Gregg, you just said he's a good corner. Will he come in as the number one corner on our team, do you think, Gregg?
I mean, absolutely, but it's not necessarily like he's stepping into a room with, let's say, a Ramsey or something.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not like that. He'll come in here and he'll be our number one, and he'll be a good number one. Like I said, he'd be an absolute amazing number two to have anywhere, like a DJ Reed, a Sauce Gardner type guy. But he's a good player, and I'm glad we got him. Like I said, he steps in. We all know that corner is a huge concern for us going forward. So I'm glad that we got him for a relatively good deal. He's only $3 million against the cap this year. So we do have room to, let's say, maybe re-sign Jamal Williams.
Right. Right. And that should be the priority. A lot of reports going around there. Jamal Williams getting a lot of interest from the Bengals, the Bills, some other teams. So we'll see how that shakes out. 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Free agency officially begins, and we will see. This is the NFC North Open Mic. As you can see, we are covering all the teams in the NFC North. We do not have a Vikings representative on the show today, so let's collectively rip them a new one. Okay?
Can I start that
and remember, if you would like to voice your opinion, if you would like to rip the Vikings a new one, please come on, put your comment in, put your question in. And as long as it's a halfway decent take and not something like Fields garbage, same old Lions, as long as it's not like that, we might let you on the show and let you express your opinion. So let's collectively rip the Vikings, and we'll start with Bill the Packer fan. Let those Vikings have it for what's been going on.
I think it's funny because in the beginning of the offseason, everybody's taking a pay cut. Now everybody, pack their bags and hit Florida and shit. They're on vacation and, they got to work on their defense. So let's draft a tight end. So,
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
So it's going to be a long, dark days for Minnesota, guys. Dark days. Hey, if you want to get in the flashlight business, start a flashlight business in Minnesota because they got a lot of dark days to come.
Oh,
not just to mention, if they would have had a big splash in free agency, if they could have somehow done it, I guarantee you they would have been on. But
I'm Aaron Rodgers from Maglite.
Can we throw the number up there? We got
Ken
a number we can throw up,
Ken Dobie, rip the Vikings a new one.
Well, there's a reason why there's no one on the show tonight from the Vikings. Word on the street is they're trading one of them, cut 3 of them, and are looking to trade another one, plus future considerations for Bill the Packer fan. That's what Adam Schefter's reporting at this moment, but we have no confirmation on it. Also, he said that Aaron said his inner circle is debating whether or not they'll let Bill the Packer fan be what he truly wants to be, and that's a Viking mouthpiece.
Holy cow.
I love it.
Whoa. Yeah, so Minnesota Vikings, they lost Harrison Barnes. Who else did they lose, Gregg? Name off some of these players the Vikings have lost just in the last week.
I mean, they lost Thielen, who has been a big part of that offense, a big locker room guy. They lost Kendricks. They still got to get under the cap. You're looking at their defense, and you're like, what are you going to do? You lost Patrick Peterson, and they go out and they grab a blocking tight end. It was the most unreal move I've ever seen. This defense is going to be hurting. And the whole addition by subtraction thing, I'm not falling for it. They lost a lot of vocal leaders, key pieces there. They still got to get under the cap somehow. It baffles me. And I'll say this. I like KOC as a head coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. But Brian Flores is stepping into a huge mess. And just bringing him in there with the lack of talent they have, this Viking team is going to take a big step backwards next year.
Yeah, the NFL loves parity. That salary cap helps them get parity. You can go from worst to first if you play the cap right. You can also go from first to worst if you play the cap wrong. And it looks like the Vikings are playing the cap wrong right now. They only have 2 draft picks in the top 60. They're in cap hell. I don't see any way out of it for them. I sure wish we had a Vikings fan on today.
He just showed up
for me.
There he is.
But who we got in, Russ? We got John Sullivan. We got a Vikings fan in here. All right.
Hey.
John Sullivan, how you doing? I see you've got your orange vest or your green vest on out there. You're probably at the front door of US Bank Stadium, ushering the traffic in and out, and it's mostly going out, I believe. Tell us, John Sullivan, how's your team going to respond to all this craziness that's going on?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think it looks good. We need we picked up a tight end. All the fucking things in the world. We're cutting defense, and the thing we're picking up is a fucking tight end. It's like, you gotta be kidding. When I saw that, I shook my head. I just couldn't believe it.
Unreal.
Must be Quezzy.
I don't know if you guys seen it or not. It's breaking news. NFL rule change. It says if you don't, there's no more onside kick. It's 4th and 20.
Are you kidding me?
It just came across.
He's trolling.
That is huge.
No, I swear. And something on roughing the passer. I didn't click on it.
I got.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't say bogus news.
Hey, Bill. Do you have the number? Do we can we because we want to hear from you out there, and I and Bill's getting the number. He's going to pop it right up here on the screen if he can find that. All right, can you get that? Where's that at? Yeah, there you go, right there. You can call us at 872-216-9360. I mean, there's a lot of free agent information that's out there right now. So if you got something you want to break, or you just want to come in here and have an awful take just like us, then feel free. Jump on in, 872-216-9360. And we're talking Minnesota Vikings and how awful that they're going to be for the next, for the near future. I mean, you guys aren't even done. It isn't even as bad as it's going to be yet. It's going to get worse.
Let's hear John Sullivan.
Let's remember the show. Let's remember the show. I want to remember the show, because if we do really good next season, I want all you guys' excuses.
You'll get them.
Happen.
No excuses here. I promise you that.
Yeah.
We were in the basement. I don't think there's no farther down. I mean, I'm talking not division. I'm talking NFL.
We've been on this show. We'll own it.
In this group, that we were going to be last or second to last. It was going to be the Packers and the Lions fighting for the division. And what happened?
Thank you. Well,
You must not have watched this show, because both Michael and I picked you to win the division, in which you did. And now we're not picking you to win the division anymore.
I didn't say everybody. I said a lot of people in this group.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just meeting you, Mike, and I'm Russell.
All right.
So, hey, I'm on NFL.com. I'm not seeing anything at all about these rule changes, Mike.
Okay, so we're breaking awful news. That's all right.
Yeah,
don't mind us.
Don't come to us for your news.
Hey.
For Bill the Packers.
There we go. Hey, feel free to call in if you want to play for the Vikings defense for like $10. They need you.
Hey, Bill, the Bears at this point right now today have 55 players under contract. So, yeah, you're right. 55 players, but they're already on the contract. So the Bears still have plenty of money.
Okay.
So we got Kyle Trumpet in the comments, and he wanted to know about Adam Thielen right here. Now that they've let him go, whether Green Bay, and we might as well just send it around to see if anybody wants to pick up Adam Thielen. And we'll start with you since we were there, Ken. Do you think you guys want to pick up Adam Thielen?
No, not really, unless he's super huge. He's not going to start with this team. I mean, he'd be a nice rotational player, but I don't think the Bears. I could see Green Bay doing it. I mean, Green Bay could maybe use him more than we could, but I don't see the Bears really having that need.
I got a take on this, Russ. I think, and Kyle's question is specifically, should Green Bay pick him up? I think he should. He's a veteran presence. He would be great for those rookies they got there. Those second-year receivers, Dobbs and Christian Watson. I think he'd be great for him. And it's close to home. He wouldn't have to leave Caitlin and the kids too far. I mean, he could drive to the games. He's 33 years old, so, I mean, he's obviously not going to play too long. But, boy, wouldn't that stick it to the Vikings. I mean, the guy's been a Viking fan his whole life. Could you imagine, would he even go play for the Packers? Bill, what do you think? Would Thielen be a good fit on the Pack?
No, I don't want him at all. We're building a young roster, not an old busted kickstand leg having. You know what I mean? Like, we want a real receiver.
They said that he was going to be a starter. He'd be playing, taking snaps, but he'd be just a veteran receiver that would show these guys the ropes, teach them.
No, I'm hoping that if we don't get many picks out of our trade for Aaron Rodgers, we could snag Elijah Moore off them. He was drafted in 2021. He's been complaining about a trade. You know what I mean? So there could be some kind of deal going.
Good point, Bill. I forgot about that.
Yep.
One of our Facebook commenters said that Thielen actually came out and said he would never play for the Packers. So I guess that ends that. But I think it was a good call out, though, because, I mean, that actually seems like a good landing spot for him if I'm Adam Thielen. So I like it. Let's move on. Vikings losing half of their team in free agency. It's just insane. After winning the division, going to the playoffs, losing to the Giants. Team they beat 2 weeks before at their own stadium. And now they're getting eviscerated by free agents, and they have no draft picks to re-up them. The rest of us are all happy about it, John Sullivan. I'm really sorry about it for you, Vikings. Yeah. But I know all you guys say, like in all the back chats, all the Vikings fans are saying, yeah, it's like this every year. We always get around the cap. We always find a way. It's looking like a pretty deep hole to dig yourselves out of this time, my friend. Put your comments in or call us at 872-216-9360. It is the NFC North Open Mic night here on the Monday night main stage. I want to talk about a couple of other things at the moment. I want to talk about this draft order, okay? And we're going to start back with the Bears again. Ken Doby,
yep.
What do you think the Bears are going to take at 9? Let's assume they don't trade out of the 9 spot. What do you think the Bears are targeting at 9?
Well, there's defense. There's a certain offensive line player who plays his college football in Chicago, Illinois, or in Evanston more specifically.
Skoronsky.
Yep, and they're just going to move him from Evanston to Lake Forest. I think that's where we go. That's if Carter is not available. If Carter slips in the draft because of all the little nonsense, then you take Carter at 9. But if he's gone, I think Ski's a kid. I think they're going to take Ski.
Okay. So, Bill, the Packer fan, what do you think the Packers are going to target with their first pick?
I want a receiver, but they're most likely going to go defensive end because they never go receiver in the first round. Now, if they
never do.
Yeah, if they trade and get a first rounder this year somewhat out of Rodgers, they might. You know what I mean? I'm thinking tight end, defensive end, then tight end.
That's right. What do you guys pick, 15?
Yeah, 15, and the Jets currently have number 13. And it just so happens we have no tight ends on the roster.
So do you think 13 is an okay place to take a tight end in this year's draft?
Yeah, like Russell pointed out the other day on one of the other shows, there's 15 tight ends in the top 100 in the draft. So I think we'll be able to snag one, maybe even two.
Right on.
So,
Kyle Trumpet has trumpeted in, and he says he hopes the Packers take the receiver Johnston out of TCU. He's actually said Boston College, but I'm pretty sure he means Quentin Johnston from TCU. 6'4" kid's a beast. He would be scary in Green Bay. So I think that's a pretty good call out. We saw some of these moves at the top. Obviously, Carolina's going to take a quarterback. You've got the Houston Texans at 2. I know Gregg Rice says DeMeco Ryans might take Jimmy G, but that's off the table now, Greg, since Jimmy G signing with the Raiders is what the report coming out of Las Vegas is. So now, what do you think happens now in the draft headliner panel? I want to ask you. This is very, very interesting. With 4 quarterbacks, we're going to ask you, Gregg Rice. Now it looks like Jimmy G to Houston's not an option. Do you think Houston takes a quarterback?
I think it's possible. Look, I'm going to be real with you guys and up front. I have gotten so many of my takes wrong, so I just want to be upfront and accountable for it. I remember I was grilling Bears fans. You ain't trading out a number 1. You ain't trading out a number 1. And you know what? Literally everything I've wished for this offseason or predicted has fallen through. So I think there's absolutely a chance the Texans could. But still, to me, I look at Will Anderson Jr. as the best player in the draft. Ryan's being a defensive-minded coach. I still think there's a chance they go Will Anderson, and then with their 12th spot and plethora of other picks, move up if someone slips past 5. That being said, after that, the Cardinals are in a great situation, identical to the Bears. They essentially have their quarterback of the future, so they could be looking to trade out or grab Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, whoever falls to them. Looking at the Colts, obviously going to be a quarterback. Seahawks are kind of up in the air. I could see them grabbing Wilson or another defensive player. I'm actually, after all the shakeup, the news today, I'm actually kind of worried about what our Lions do. I don't really like where we're at 6. If 4 of these 5 quarterbacks go in the first round, that's perfect because we are able to get our choice of either Anderson or Carter, whoever's left over. But let's say 3 of these quarterbacks are left and 2 defensive players come off the board. We're in kind of a real precarious situation. So I don't know.
I don't see it that way. I see the Lions are in the catbird seat. I think that you let the draft come to you. That's how you do it, right? That's how good draft. You let the draft come to you, and you stick to your board and you stick to your philosophy. And also, you said something interesting there. Seattle probably taking Tyree Wilson at 5. There's a good possibility that the Seattle Seahawks could take a quarterback at 5. I really don't think we can rule that out. Geno Smith, they gave him a new deal, but it's only a couple of years. Yeah. And he's the perfect guy to bring in a new guy and let him mentor him. He's willing to mentor a new quarterback. They've obviously got some other issues on that team. But quarterback for the future would be a great move for Seattle. If I was Seattle, I would take Anthony Richardson or Will Levis or something at 5 to secure my future at the QB position. I think that it's going to be very interesting. Arizona, I think we can all agree, right? Will Anderson at 3 to Arizona. What do you guys think? Mike, the Bear fan, what do you think?
Well, I'd personally like to answer that Bears one more than likely.
Okay.
Honestly.
When did the Bears draft a great quarterback?
Not that question. The one you gave, the one you gave 10. The one you gave 10 in the same situation at the 9 spot. I personally think we do take a tackle, but I'm actually going to go with his old teammate from Ohio State, Paris Johnson. That might be a possibility as well. He's a couple inches taller, and he's only 5 pounds lighter. You know what I mean? But I possibly think they might trade down possibly 2, 3, 4 spots because he'd still be available.
That's a great call, Mike. I've never heard that take. I don't think I've ever heard you have a good take, and that was a good take.
You've seen Mike the Bear fan. You follow me, bud. Just go check out my takes. You like him,
Fields' old Suckeye teammate. That's a great call. He is a big, powerful tackle, and they could trade down later and still get him. And it fills a need. I think that's a great take, Mike. Thank you for that. Russell Wayne, what do you think? What are the Bears going to do at 9? And more importantly, who's Carolina looking at 1? Is it C.J. Stroud?
Hey, gosh, damn! How are you going to You ask different question to every single person. I just want to answer the question. One question.
My bad.
One question. One question I will answer, and there's a chance that they may have 4 quarterbacks that are going in the top 5. And really, I think that the Arizona Cardinals being there at 3 and knowing that they want to trade down, we already have Carolina that got at 1. We can all agree that they probably want a quarterback. Yeah. Houston probably wants a quarterback. If Arizona trades out to a team, that team that's trading into that spot probably wants a quarterback. Indianapolis wants a quarterback. And then you have the 2 top defensive players. That's where I think that the Detroit Lions are in their pick, is they're going to have, and Seattle's going to take Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, and the Lions will take the other one. That's the way I think the top of the draft is going to play out. I don't care what the Bears pick.
But Greg, look, Gregg's onto something, because the Texans just signed Case Keenum today, so we know they're not drafting a quarterback. That's just to support Greg there. I was looking at the transaction.
He said, yeah, got the franchise guy right there. Man, what was I thinking?
Case Keenum can play on my team any day.
$3 million a year, that's their quarterback of the future, Case Keenum.
It's my quarterback.
I don't know what the hell Texas is doing. I mean,
oh man,
they signed today. It's like they're signing all these $1 million a year contracts. It's like, I guess they want the number 1 next year. I don't know.
Well, there's another big move. You see, the old linebacker from Indy, where we were talking about the Bears, Bobby. He signed with the Giants, 4 years, $40 million.
Who did?
I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Bobby or Kiwi. I don't know his last name.
That's it. That's one of them.
You just wanted to make me do that.
Let me refresh the tracker here.
So we got 872-216-9360. You can actually jump on the show with us if you have a take on your team. It doesn't even have to be about NFC North. If you're out there and your favorite team is some other team, bring us up a topic if you want to talk about something. This is the free agency period. This is like if you're a Lions fan, I mean, come on. This is like our Super Bowl, right? Come on, let's go.
Shane Gurton asked, do you think D-Hop ends up in the NFC North? I would love to see D-Hop come to the Lions, and I think he would fit great on the Bears. He'd fit great on the Packers. I think, D-Hop coming to the NFC North. I want to kick that around. Bill, the Packer fan, is he a kickstand leg old guy like you said, D-Hop?
No,
would you be opposed to that?
No, not at all. And he's actually favored to come to Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
So here, I can share it to you and show you real quick that it was just posted early this morning, and I was like, that's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. So you'd be all right with DeAndre Hopkins coming at 30 years old.
Oh, look at those odds.
Yeah,
look at that.
That's right. Nice.
Good there, Mike. They're looking pretty goddamn good.
Boy,
that's right.
I sure hope he doesn't go to Kansas City. That'll be
no shit.
That move doesn't happen though until a Rodgers move is done, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's one of those moves like that they have to.
What's going on there? What's everybody's prediction on what's going to? I mean,
yeah, he's on a fishing expedition right now.
I mean, I think Main Event Mike called that one out when he said that Aaron Rodgers is a diva and he just loves all this attention and he just needs to make it all about him. I mean,
well, there's a rumor that he's going to make an announcement on the McAfee show tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, okay. You're going to give us the announcement, the official Aaron Rodgers breaking of the news?
Right.
No, that show is going to have a lot of views, though. I guarantee it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Jets players were tweeting some weird stuff this afternoon that maybe looked like done, but it's that drama is just it's Aaron. What would we expect anything less? Because none of us are in his circle, and no one's in his circle. So, I mean,
you're not in the inner circle.
Yeah, exactly. And Packers that'd be a great move for the Packers, which would really shove another needle in Aaron's eye if he leaves and then they get D-Hop. But I mean, they just gotta. I don't know. They're still hostage right now. We were talking pre-show. The Packers really aren't going to do anything free agency wise until this is done, right? Because I think what they spend money on post Aaron Rodgers is different than what they would spend money if Aaron is here. Like if Aaron stays, they don't get D-Hop. They're like, nope, we're not going to do it. If he goes, though, for some weird reason, I think they give D-Hop to Jordan Love. So it's one of those, and I think they're using some of that draft capital that Bill thinks they're going to get D-Hop. So it's kind of like one of those
Get this on the record.
Yeah, I don't think you're multiple first rounders for Aaron Rodgers, but I mean,
Or if they're just making it up,
they're going to get some trade capital. They'll use that. They'll take that trade capital and flip it right around to the Cardinals for D-Hop, and of course now they know what they've got to play with money wise too, because D-Hop isn't cheap. So
just stop with the fake news.
Hey, Ken, let me ask you a really, really serious question.
Yeah.
Did you just get a haircut?
Yes, I did. I got my quarterly haircut. Got my
I was gonna say, man, it looks really, really good. I thought it was it because the Bears made all these great moves today, and you were just like, God, I gotta get a haircut.
No, so since I retired, my wife lets me get a haircut once a quarter. So this was my quarterly haircut.
Nice.
How come you picked the Jay Cutler
Good,
cut?
man.
Plus, I'm about to go to Puerto Rico, and it's gonna be hot as hell there. So
That's right.
I got.
That's right. Well, I'm glad you got yourself all dolled up for NFC North Open Mic tonight.
It is going to be interesting to see what happens starting on Wednesday with all these free agency moves, all these cuts, so many players on the move. We think we can predict it, but we never can. One thing that wasn't mentioned today, Isaiah Buggs signed also with the Detroit Lions, backup defensive lineman. Does this pave the way now for John Kaminsky to not be re-signed, or is it still in play, Greg?
I think Kaminsky's still in play. Like I said, you guys, we have very little money to essentially re-sign a couple key players. Kaminsky definitely in the mix. You'd like to see him back. I mean, I'm not going to lie. If it came down to Kaminsky or Jamal Williams coming back, much rather see Jamal Williams. But that being said, I don't know, man. It was a lot of Lions fans were very disappointed in today's chat. But in all reality, you guys, we just don't have the money to play with. And I've stated this before on a few shows. We're just not quite there yet. Let us get this draft class in, and then we'll see about getting some free agents. I can say this. I do like Brad Holmes' mentality of either he's acquiring elite top-tier players, like we've seen what he tried to do with Deebo Samuel last year, like we've seen what he tried to do with Jalen Ramsey, or he's getting mid-range guys on reasonable contracts. And I'm okay with that. Keep building through the draft.
So, Greg, question to follow on that, though. Speaking, right now you've got your running backs a free agent, and people like kind of with the Bears. We know why it's Monty wants to test free agent market, but you guys haven't re-signed your running back yet, and we were just talking about the draft. Do you see maybe out of the realm of possibility that maybe you're not going to re-sign your current running back and you're going to draft your running back?
That's very possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's completely within the realm of reality. What I don't think is there's a lot of Lions fans now that Jamal Williams is still out there. A lot of rumblings for Bijan Robinson, and I just don't see him making it to us. There's a few teams ahead of us, cough, cough, the Eagles, that could desperately use a running back in that room to help facilitate that offense. I'm okay with getting a guy in the second or third round, like a Charbonnet, or even on day 3 with a McBride or something.
I mean, you can
stop playing with us.
You don't want him.
Hey, I've got a question for you, Lions.
I just
go ahead, Sully.
You guys were talking about Jalen Ramsey maybe about a week ago, possibly coming to Detroit. Did it upset you guys that he signed with Miami, or do you guys not care?
I don't think it upsets me at all. The thing that upsets me the most is that Micah Parsons was right.
Yeah.
Ain't no one going from LA to Detroit, and he was basically suggesting there was no way Jalen Ramsey would come here. And I hate the fact that he was right, because now Jalen basically chose Miami. He chose Miami and the tax break maybe that the state of Florida offers him, the nice weather, the high profile city. Maybe that has something to do with it. But I'm not upset that he's not coming to Detroit. And now that we know that's off the table, I can feel free to bash him and say he's a loudmouth. I'm glad he's not coming. What do you think, Russell Wayne?
I mean, I didn't mind at all that he didn't come. I mean, it was a
dream.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to think about it, but then when you found out that he signed for $37 million guaranteed, they had to give up draft capital. I liked the signing that they had with Cameron Sutton better because it was half the price. You got a solid guy that's easily the best cornerback on the Lions roster right now. They got better for sure in free agency, and they signed a bunch of their own players too. So it's like, it wasn't in Brad Holmes' MO to go and get a guy and pay that much money to a guy like that. He hasn't done, there's been no track record of that. I didn't really think it was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I think when you bounce the Cam Sutton signing against not getting Jalen Ramsey, it softens the blow a lot for me because, like Russ said, he's more affordable. And also, if you read some of these reports about Cam Sutton, the secondaries coach said, former secondary coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers said he could possibly be the smartest player I've ever coached. Another coach of Pittsburgh said he's tough and gritty, and he's a great locker room guy. What does that sound like? That sounds like the blueprint for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell right there. So I think when you bounce that against losing Jalen Ramsey, I think we dodged a bullet, honestly, Solomon, that we didn't get this guy.
Okay.
Ramsey was a third-round draft pick, though. So, Russell, you gave up draft capital, but you gave up a third-rounder. I mean, to get a player of his caliber for a third-rounder, I get what you're saying on the money on the cap issue, but the draft capital they gave up.
Well, that was it, right there. Let's be honest with this, though. Like, if let's say hypothetically you brought Jalen Ramsey into the Lions, there would be no re-signing of Anzalone. There would be no Sutton. There would be no Bugs. You're free. Your off season is over until the draft, essentially. So, and you actually have to move some shit around for that to even happen just with the one player. So I am glad that we didn't give up draft capital and spend the money.
I agree.
We got an update.
We
got an update, guys.
Go ahead, Bill.
All right. For one, there's two updates. It was one of the topics. The Packers are one of the teams talking to Thielen.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Number two, Aaron Rodgers ate a Snickers and he's still an asshole.
Good shit, Bill.
That shit you said in a decade.
So that's
Oh, man. I love
it.
Shot that.
Oh, shit.
You guys are turning on him like he just stole Lambeau Field from you guys. Like he just fucking took a dump on Lambeau Field and did something, man.
That was great, Bill.
Greg Rice.
Yeah.
We're getting an update right now. Minnesota actually cut their mascot.
Sully, here's your chance, bud. Go get it.
No, I was gonna say, Mike, top on that, man.
He does a good bull. Hey, Sully does a good Bullwinkle impression.
I believe it.
No, I do a great Obama impersonation. Shut up.
So Greg, you think that Bijan Robinson is going to be gone before the Lions pick at 18 for real?
Look, the kid has an amazing highlight reel. He does essentially everything you want out of a running back. I just look at it, to be honest with you, Russ, as there are a few teams ahead of us in that 18th pick slot that could use a running back of his caliber.
Would you be upset if he got to 18 and the Lions selected Bijan Robinson at 18 overall? Your take, Greg Rice.
Man, we need so much help on defense. I just want to re-sign Jamal Williams or Devontae Foreman as a plan B. I don't want to have to worry about. I'd like to spend this draft capital, you guys, strictly to defense. Maybe grab an offensive guard, but to think that we're spending valuable picks that are needed so badly on this defense that played so poorly in the first half of the season, that even in the second half, after ranking like 18th in defense, we still ranked 32nd overall behind the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, that's how bad it was, you guys. But Bijan Robinson, if he's that guy, it's so hard, you guys. I mean, you look at the history of running backs after Barry Sanders. I mean, essentially Jamal Williams, Reggie Bush. I mean, what else do we got? Not much. So I don't know, man.
Let me
Right.
throw something at you. Like, I just want to throw, because this is just like dreaming out here right here. I thought about the Bijan Robinson thing, and last year the Lions had a stat with their offensive line that they weren't having their running backs get touched for about 3 yards before they even got contacted. Now, if you put Bijan Robinson behind that line with that, have you seen this guy run yet?
Absolutely.
This guy might be, I mean, he looks like a 180-pound dude in a 225-pound frame. This may be the most special running back that we've seen since Adrian Peterson. And behind this offensive line, that might be a scary thing for the entire NFL.
Well, and
Right.
Russ,
I personally don't think the Lions will take Bijan Robinson at 18, and here's why. They have worked out several Texas players. Bijan was not one of them. They had plenty of chance to work this guy out if he was on their radar. What they did do was work out his backup. Okay.
Wow.
I think they're looking at Johnson, his backup at Texas, in a later round move rather than looking at Bijan Robinson. And going back to what Gregg says, I think they addressed the defense with 6 and 18. I think we're going to look at 2 first-round draft picks on the defense in 2023 for Detroit Lions.
Well, as for Bijan, actually, it's funny that we're talking about, but a lot of people, to include Tomlinson, think the Bears might select him at 9, which, if you think about it, would be pretty special. I mean, he'd fit well with that team. I don't know if you're reaching at 9 to get him. I think you might be, but I've seen more than a few mock drafts that have him going to the Bears at 9. So that's why I was saying, if the Lions really, really are not going to re-sign any running backs, and he's your guy, they might pull the trigger at 6. And especially if Carter and Anderson are gone, if he's that special of a running back, like you're saying, Mike, I could see the Bears or the Lions maybe making that early trigger pull and shaking up. Because right now, if you look at a lot of other mock drafts, it's either he's going at 9 to the Bears or he's going at to the Eagles, which are 16, 17. So he's an interesting part of the conversation for the non-quarterback needing teams. And I think we need defense too. But if he's going to be that good of a running back and you're dominated by every other position, you're getting a diamond in the rough then, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah. From a skill set, I mean, a lot of people would think that you don't want to draft a quarterback or running back that early in this NFL because they take such a beating, and the 30 carry a game running backs don't really exist anymore. But gosh, man, I watched his highlight reel the other day, and I was completely amazed of the stuff that he was doing. He looks a lot like what Barry Sanders. I mean, the way that he can glide and change direction and do his spin moves at 220 pounds. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That is a good point for sure, Ken. I could, especially if we're not going to do nothing at running back wise, in the offseason, free agency, you know what I mean? That's not a bad pick.
Let Monty
obviously
go
we need
and take a running back at 9. I hope
go
Bears
with
do that.
Yeah.
Foles.
Look, I'm just gonna say this, you guys. Look, man. Cool. I know Bears are running back is so key to them. Look, you guys got Khalil Herbert, man. He's one of my top 3 running backs next year for a breakout season. He was well on his way this year to a breakout season pre-injury. Give this guy some time. This guy has Tony Pollard vibes all over him. If you're talking about drafting a running back that high, he's obviously going to cut way into his snap count and become your premier back. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I think Khalil Herbert's a special player, you guys. He's electric, one of the most electric players I've seen from the Bears in quite a while. And just to think that you would take a player that would cut a lot into a snap, especially drafted that high, is just kind of ludicrous to me.
His build, though, is more like Tyreek, like a Cohen. He's not an every. That's the problem with him. Like, I like him too. I think he's special, but he's not your every down guy. That's why he worked so well with Monty. Like when Monty was out and it was just Herbert really didn't do well. He did okay, but he didn't do great. I think he needs that other back. So yeah, you're right. If you get Dijon at 9, he's going to take the bulk, but he's going to take 20 of the 30 to 35. And I think the Bears are looking, in the NFL in general, is looking more of this two-headed running back monster.
Come on,
Yeah.
Ken.
Well, I love Herbert too. To add to it, though, the only thing he lacks, and I'm pretty sure Ken will agree, is blocking. He lacks on the blocking. That's where
Come on,
Monty
guys.
came in was great.
The reason
look
Khalil
at it.
Herbert
Here's
didn't do
the-
anything when Monty was out is because defenses don't fear your quarterback's arm. That's
Monty
why.
helped bring
Khalil Herbert's
bring
got
Herbert
all the
open him
moves,
up.
but when they know they can put 8 and 9 guys in the box because this kid can't throw the
Hey,
ball.
Bill, go ahead and throw that.
Come on.
Picture up.
Go ahead.
Mike,
We got the
go ahead.
receivers to do
Go-
it now.
Yeah.
Well, let me throw this
Throw
up
the
there
little
right there.
Homer picture for him.
What do you got?
Big Dan Davis says that just because they didn't see Bijan work out on his pro day doesn't necessarily mean they won't draft him, because when we drafted Sewell, Holmes didn't even interview him. That's
That's
a
a great
great
call out, Big
comment.
Dan. Thank you. That's a great
So-
call out. Yeah, maybe we will draft that guy. You know, Holmes wants to make a splash, and maybe that'd be the splash that he'd make.
Yeah, maybe he worked them out in the back room and said they were working out the backup and be like, "Hey, Bijan, psst, come over here.
Well, you guys
Run a
were at
40.
the combine.
Run a 40."
Talked to him at the combine. Someone talked to him at the combine. I know the Lions. You guys had people who went to the combine and watched it, so you guys have seen him work. So I mean, teams are like that. I mean, you think they're going to talk to every guy they're interested in and let it be known? No, every year it's the same story.
One of our Facebook users asked, "What do you think of Tyree Wilson?" And I'm going to answer that question. That's the guy I want the Lions to get at 6. It'll be a stretch if he's not there. If Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter are both on the board, I would select Tyree Wilson if I'm the Lions. And I want to kick that around to you there, Russ and Greg, our Lions fans. If Jalen Carter's on the board and Tyree Wilson's on the board, who would you take, Russ?
Wow, Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter? Gosh, you got a bookend for Hutchinson and Tyree
That's a good
Wilson.
question, huh?
Like, that's a freaking awesome question, and
I know I should host a show.
So, I would go with Jalen Carter, man. I mean, like 2 months ago, he was the number 2 dude on the board, and it was a slam dunk, and the Bears were even thinking about taking this guy at number 1 as a game-changing defensive lineman. You throw him right in the middle of that Detroit Lions defense with Aiden Hutchinson on one side and James Houston on the other side, and we have a lot of good role-playing pass rushers too. Man, that's a scary defensive line. That's a scary defensive line. So I'm going to say Jalen Carter.
Greg Rice, same question. Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter if they're both there at 6?
Well, this is going to sound kind of shitty, but this is all predicated on if Jalen Carter gets pulled over again for speeding. I'm starting to see – well, I mean, he just got pulled over on March 2nd after all this stuff went down. It really is I like Jalen Carter. I know the talent is there, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm starting to get Nick Fairley vibes from him. And if this kind of conduct just keeps happening, he just doesn't have that mentality, I think, that Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell desire. Nick Fairley, another guy in a similar situation, went and kicked ass with Cam Newton, put it all out in the playoffs, and then just struggled. His struggles were a little different now, not so much the speeding. Well, he liked to speed and drink and smoke weed, but, I mean, that was then. Now you can smoke weed. Now you're good, whatever. It really is predicated on if there's any more issues leading up to the draft. If there isn't, I'm taking Carter. If there is, I don't even know if I'd go with Wilson, man. I still like Witherspoon. Sorry to throw out an X factor.
Right now.
Well, that sucks when you only have a choice between 2 dudes, and I mean, you may not even been thinking about either one of those guys. Like, I thought about Jalen Carter, but I like the cornerbacks that are available, right? I mean, the fact that we could get Joey Porter, Gonzalez, or Witherspoon right there. I mean, take your pick. I would probably take any one of those.
True.
Yeah,
I mean,
Forbes
I would at least
from
think about it.
He's really highly touted too. It's a very deep corner draft.
True.
I mean, I do like Tyree Wilson, but I mean, we have James Houston and Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, that's 19 sacks. I mean, they're young. They were drafted last year, so I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you can always use pass rushers, but we got Pascal. I mean, Okwara is still on the team. Charles Harris is still on the team.
Tyree Wilson, 6'6", 275. And he's a hybrid. He can play outside linebacker or edge. He can play with his hand in the ground or from the 2-point stance. Kid's a freak.
He's that big, Mike?
6'6",
I might have to check out some more footage of him, man. Man, that's a lot to pass up.
With long arms.
Yeah.
Kid's a freak. Jalen Carter's also
Walker.
a freak, and he's a game record. Jalen Carter's a game record. But like you said, the Nick Fairley vibes, he's just – the character issues are huge with this regime. This is the main thing they're looking for. They can coach you in other things, but they can't coach your attitude and the kind of person that you are. And I just don't see – let Jalen Carter be good somewhere else.
I'm glad that
And by the way, thanks for putting that comment in. And if you'd like to put your comment or question in, be sure to do it. Or drop us a line. You can also call in at 1-800-BLOW-PACK-BLOW.
So we got some
official number.
We got some breaking.
I'm sorry, that's 872-216-9360. I got that number wrong. My bad. Moving on, Russ. What's our next topic?
Hey, Russ, got breaking news.
Oh,
you got breaking news?
Got breaking news. So this goes back to something Mike the Bear fan alluded to. The rules. They just released the proposed amendments, and let me just say, the Detroit Lions really hate Rule 15 of the NFL rules because they have submitted by far the most amount of rule change proposals than any other team in the NFL today. There were 9 of which, let me see, 1, 2, 3 of them were by Detroit for Rule 15, which deals with the replay. So the Chargers that want to amend one of the rules, which basically is just like, hey, when there's to adjust the play clock following instant replay reversal, consistent with other timing rules. That's easy. Now the Lions have 3. They want to expand the coach's challenge system to include personal fouls, so they can challenge a personal foul call. The Lions also asked for a 3rd challenge for teams, and the Lions also asked for the replay official's jurisdiction to allow for consultation regarding penalty assessment. And then
what? Say that one again.
That's what we're saying, Lion fans.
Expand the replay official's jurisdiction to allow for consultation regarding penalty assessment. That's the 3rd one Detroit asked. Now, the Rule 15 keeps getting a hit because the Texans are like, well, wait, hold our beer, Detroit. We want to expand the replay official's jurisdiction to allow for review of failed 4th down attempts. And then the Rams said, well, wait, we want to get on this Rule 15 too. They want to make it fouls for roughing the passer called on the field subject to replay review. And then the Jets said, well, we got to get on this rule change stuff, but we want Rule 12. And they want to expand the crackback prohibition of players who go in motion and go beyond the center to block. So if your wide receiver goes in motion, they can't split flow block anymore. Those are all the rules that are being asked for change. Nothing about adopting the XFL.
That's the stupidest rule I've to make any rule that says a person can't block.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
They can block.
How about the new? I'm reading here that it says the new Aaron Rodgers rule right there says that he wants to be able to use psychedelic drugs while playing on the field.
No,
that's great.
An interesting one, though, the one I didn't mention was the most interesting one of all. The Philadelphia Eagles want to introduce proposed a rule change that would allow players on the field to wear number 0 as a jersey number. Right now, you can't wear the number 0. And they want it for kickers like punters and kickers to give them the opportunity to wear number 0 or 00. Because right now, since 1981, you can't wear it. So now they want to give them 0 or 00.
The way Dan Campbell goes for it on 4th down, I thought they were going to submit a request to make 5 downs. So
there is no 3rd down with Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell says that
I say we go for it on 5th.
Dan Campbell says that 4th down is just an extension of 3rd down. It's 3rd down again.
4th down's just a number. I don't care if you got one ass cheek and 3 toes.
I know,
yes.
man. I know.
It doesn't matter.
I think those rule changes are going to. I don't think they're going to get the third challenge, but most of those will probably go through. I would think, except maybe the third challenge.
Wow. Well, I think we're heading towards the end of this broadcast, folks. This is the beginning of free agency tampering period, and this is the Main Event 365, and this is the NFC North Open Mic night on Monday night. Be sure to head over to the Main Event 365 and like and share our content, because that's the engine that makes this go. That's how we make this thing happen every Monday. Be sure to check out Bill the Packer Fan and Mike the Bear Fan and their respective shows as well. And keep supporting NFL football, and we will see you on the flip side. God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
I'm not upset about it.
You're not upset about it.
You gotta end it.
Legitimate, it can stand up to question.